Let's talk about it. Most men are sexually deprived, or if they are experiencing sexual access, they're only experiencing superficial level of sex. What do I mean? I did a podcast interview last week, and one of the topics that we discussed was male sexuality and how when a man is sexually deprived, when a man isn't fully expressing himself sexually, it shows up in hesitation, leadership. It shows up in how he interacts socially. It shows up in every facet of his life. And the truth is, these days, we only look at sex from a rather narrow lens. Now, when it comes to the work that we do here on this channel, in my organization, I always tell you guys, and for the gentlemen that are new, welcome, but I always tell you guys that there's two ways that a man works in this world. That being on the 3D and in the 3D. In the 3D is actually taking the physical actions. And this goes across business, work, sex, whatever. And then working on the 3D is working on the multi-dimensional facets of yourself, your mind, right? So fellas, I'm at my desk again, man. Listen, if you didn't see the most recent free masterclass I did for you guys on how to become a Renaissance man, check that one out after this. Let's talk about it. 7 ways or 7 signs that your sexual energy is off as a man. Number 1, fellas, is gonna be you've lost your internal drive. And what I mean by this is when your sexual energy is scattered, your ambition fades, okay? Not only does your ambition fade, but you stop moving with conviction. A lot of you guys lack conviction. I'll get into that a little bit, okay? You stop moving with this fire, like you get up and you don't know what to do. Furthermore, from there, your project stalled. This is for you guys that procrastinate. Oh, I want to do this. 6 months go by. You still haven't started it, right? Your momentum dies. If you were doing the work, right? A lot of you guys like to start things, but then you don't finish it. That used to be my biggest problem. I remember one time, I think I was like 17. And I remember like my father told me one time, he just exposed me. And it was in the small details, right? Something super small. He asked me to wash some dishes and I kind of half-assed washed them and I put them away. And he sat me down so calmly and he said, son, if you would just finish what you start and do it well, you would go so far in life. And like that shit stayed with me till this day. All my life, I had been somebody that half-assed things. That shit destroyed me when he told me that. He didn't even know. Let's carry on because I'm gonna circle back to all this right here. Momentum dies and your fire to build gets replaced with overthinking and procrastination. So how many of you guys are in your head? I used to be in my head. I used to overthink. I used to stall. I used to procrastinate. I used to have all the drive, right? But start and then stop and then second guess myself. I was sexually deprived. And what I mean by this is whether you're not having sexual access with the actual women or the woman that you want, whatever you fancy, or if you are, it's just, oh, I'm gonna get my nut off. Oh, I'm gonna just do this. Oh, fuck that, I'm gonna get mine. Sex is a powerful thing, fellas. And the man's sexuality shows up in how he presents himself in the world, how he serves, how he leads. If you have hesitation in your leadership, if you second guess yourself, I was talking to a gentleman the other day and he said, I want to start making YouTube videos. I want to create a coaching business. I want to do this, but I'm afraid of what if my family sees my videos? What if somebody sees this? What if somebody sees that? And then I asked the brother, you know, what's your sex life like? He's like, well, I haven't had sex in a year and a half. And there's nothing wrong with not having sex in a year and a half per se, depending on if you're fasting, whatever your religious beliefs are, right? I've gone on fast before from sex as well. But when we are sexually deprived as men, it shows up in the preoccupation of thinking about what others will think about us. In starting and stopping and procrastinating and moving through life with a little less certainty and conviction. There's a way that you can have powerful sex with your woman to where you both dive deeply into intimacy. I haven't even gotten into number 2 yet, but I felt like I had to preface this, right? Before we dive deep into today's videos and say these things. If you're having superficial sex or you're sexual deprived, you're probably going to identify with some of these signs that I'm going to talk to you gentlemen about today. Okay, let's continue to number two. Number two, you seek stimulation, right? I used to always seek stimulation instead of purpose, right? I'm somebody who, I told you guys before, I had a severed relationship with my mother. I had a very traumatic childhood. Woe is me, boo-hoo. But I used to seek validation from women. So as I started going through high school and, you know what I'm saying, building my body up or whatever, just growing as a man, college, as an athlete, I was just running through women. And I would end up just being hurt, having expectations on women and seeking the validation that my mother never gave me through women. And that always left me empty. This is why I never tell you guys that you got to sleep with 50 different women before you can get a good woman like some of these red pill guys give you or tell you. Nah, you got to figure out these issues within inside yourself and how to express yourself externally, publicly, and as well sexually in privacy with your woman. And so you seek stimulation instead of purpose. And instead of channeling energy into creation, you burn it quickly with dopamine, which this can mean porn, this can be distraction, this can be low leverage tasks in your business. This can be many things, right? So you distract yourself with scrolling. I know a lot of my guys struggle with scrolling, okay? Casual flings, this was my thing. I used to have so many casual flings, 3, 4, 5 women at a time. These days, I don't do 3 women per se at a time. I'm not gonna sit there and act like I don't still enjoy women. I love women, but I'm much more selective with who I share energy with and space with. And I'm upfront about it and I'm honest about it, about the season that I'm in. But just wasting and like seeking stimulation to validate your ego because you have a gorgeous woman, that shouldn't do anything for you, right? And so the flings, the same energy that you could be using to build empires, right, gets wasted on instant gratification. For me personally, I used to just love flings and all these different things. And I'm to the point now personally, guys, where yes, I can acknowledge beauty. I love women. What man doesn't, right? But I don't feel the need to pursue women as much as I used to. Like I'm good, right? Like I can acknowledge that a woman is gorgeous. And if we connect on the energetic level, we can explore something. But I don't feel the need to like have to gratify myself instantly with every chick. And if you're somebody that can't control your lust, if you're somebody that struggles with women, both in abundance and in lack. Listen, if you struggle with women both in abundance, as in like you have to fuck all these different chicks, and if you can't get a woman, both of these ends of the spectrum are extremes and you're sexually out of whack. Okay, so this is very important for us to know. Why again? Because it shows up in how you move through life. It shows up with how you present yourself, how you lead, how you serve, right? Socially, how you communicate. Do you second guess yourself? Do you doubt yourself? Are you worried about how people perceive you? Are you worried about how you look and think, right? Or what people think about you? These are all signs that sexually as a man, you're locked up, you're backed up. You need to let that energy flow through you, okay? Number 3, the third sign is you feel detached from your masculine identity, right? I'm gonna continue on with this right here. So sexual imbalance weakens your sense of self. As I mentioned, how we move through this life as men. You start by doubting yourself, right? Doubting your power, right? Shrinking in your decisions. This was me. And operating from guilt or confusion instead of grounded dominance, right? And so for me, I used to always second guess myself, right? Like once I started getting opportunities and winning, and I spoke about this in my book, Escaping Thyself, I sabotaged so many opportunities because I used to be so much in my head because I grew up with a speech impediment and I was afraid to like put myself out there. So I had to do an identity shift, and part of that identity shift was how I moved through the world sexually. And understanding, yo, the women that you fuck with affect you. And if you're not expressing yourself sexually, that also affects you too, right? And so I had to learn how to start controlling myself and expressing myself fully in a safe space with women. One of the things that we spoke about on that podcast, which stood out, was us men having a safe space with the women that we're with as well. Because the truth is, fellas, from our end, a lot of the sex that we have is very performative. Like, you're worrying about, is your dick big enough? Oh, did I make her come? Or this, that, and the third. And a lot of guys get in their heads, right? Whether it's dick size, performance. And so you end up getting outside of yourself as opposed to being confident in your masculinity, being in the present moment with a woman that you actually trust and feel safe with, and then you both diving into deep, profound intimacy. This is not a superficial topic. This is something that perhaps you're gonna have to watch a couple of times, sit down with this material and really digest it. There's a way to have powerful, meaningful sex, right? There's things such as tantric sex, which is a whole nother conversation. But you start to feel detached from your masculinity, right? And it's because you're not fully expressing yourself. If you're only going around having superficial sex, or you're not having sex at all that's meaningful, these things can happen. And so self-doubt, shrinking, right? Double backing on your decisions, all putting you out of whack towards your feminine energy, right? Not being grounded, right? Not being confident, in fact, being quite confused. I talk to so many guys, and you can just observe their mannerisms, listen to their words, how they talk, and I'm always correcting myself. Like, if I say the word try or something, I'm just always self-correcting, just always observing. You're not gonna feel rooted in your masculinity if your sexual energy is off. Let's move into number 4. Number 4, your confidence feels manufactured. In the masterclass that I did yesterday, I spoke about how you can observe guys who have money, who have the external accolades, but there's an inner congruence that's lacking. And so it's always gonna show up with how they present themselves. If they have to lean more on their money, if they have to lean more on their perceived status, right? This is not a full, complete man. This is not a man that's rooted in his identity, right? And so oftentimes those kind of men will what? They'll have to gratify or seek external validation through the women that they have around them. Oftentimes them women being paid, or them women being there just because that man has money. And we can observe this. We can observe this, right? And so now these things should be starting to click for you a little bit more. So their confidence, or your confidence, feels manufactured. When your sexual energy is off, you rely on external validation, right? Whether that's from women, whether that's some perceived status, right? Whether that's from others' opinions, or, you know, it can be from even just you needing praise and you needing acknowledgement, right? There's nothing wrong with being adored for your skill set. There's nothing wrong with that. But you needing to get that external validation to fill up your cup, your sexual chi is off. And so true confidence comes from internal containment. Does this sound familiar, guys? The things I've been talking to you guys about all year. When you can hold your desire without being consumed by it. So look, this is deeper than just sex. I want to take a minute to pause here, right? When you can hold your desire without being consumed by it. This is also for all of my business owners. What do I mean? I said yesterday, if you're on a call with a prospect, or if you want to make more money, right? If you want the woman of your dreams, if you want to evolve, desire is not the highest frequency to be on, right? 2 master classes ago, I walked you guys through the emotional spectrum, right, of frequencies. Desire is like in the middle. So we can have desire for things, but you have to be able to bypass that and let it go. Because when you let it go, you're not attached. And when you're not attached, you attract everything to you, right? Now we're talking about metaphysics. Sexual energy is metaphysical. So the same way that I tell you guys to shift your identity, this is how you're going to start to grow the business and attract all these things. How you have sex with the women or woman in your life, whatever you fancy, is also powerful for how you attract things or lack thereof. Okay? And so this is extremely important to understand that you cannot be consumed by your desire. Now, why does this sound counterintuitive? This sounds counterintuitive because I'm a male transformation coach in a self-improvement niche, quote unquote, right? Where everybody is telling you hustle harder, grind harder, 7 days a week, winter arc, 75 hard, this, that, and the third. And I'm sitting here telling you, you can have the desire, my brother, but you gotta let that shit go too. Why? Because it goes back to what I've been telling you guys. A man works 2 ways in this world. In the 3D is you hustling hard. I hustle hard, but working on the 3D means you working on your mind so that your central nervous system can handle that success and you already have it. So you let it go. This is why when I talk to you guys about deeper self-mastery, I tell you this is not going to be easy work. It's not. I'm not here to lie to you guys and blow smoke up your ass for you to feel good. This is deep work. This is work that elites talk about. This is work that Masons talk about. This is work that secret societies talk about. This is work that religious texts talk about. This is spiritual work. But if you can understand this, you gentlemen are going to become idiosyncratic, meaning you're going to need a telescope to look back at your life because you're going to be so different. Let's continue, fellas. That was number 3. Actually, that was number 4. Number 5, your leadership feels forced. I remember when I first got in a high position. I was working in finance technology and fintech. And I was the head of marketing. And I remember I used to have to hold these calls for these investors. And I used to have to go back and forth with the CEO and I had to present. I remember my heart used to be beating so fast because, mind you, I had a stutter. And here I am, this young black kid presenting in front of Chinese millionaires and fucking billionaires, and just like my central nervous system was fried, right? And I remember in that moment too, I was seeking so much external validation from women, just fucking here, fucking there. And I remember just like wanting to like express myself on a deeper level and stop acting like I was just this tough guy. Oh yeah, I got all these women. I was like, nah, I actually really want to connect with a woman. And I wasn't expressing that facet of myself. And I would always, like, on the outside, I was this tough guy that had all these women around me and I had so many girls around me. But then work would expose that I was a fragmented man. I'm supposed to be this confident guy. I got all these girls, but I struggle with people's perception of me when I'm presenting to them. Where is the congruence, right? And so I didn't really become comfortable presenting until I started rewiring how I saw myself and also how I explored women sexually, right? And how I dominated and mastered myself. Now I feel confident expressing myself, right? And I'm also having the best sex I've ever had in my life because it's less about ego now, right? It's more so about truly exploring and delving into deep, profound intimacy, right? I even do something called sexual manifestation, which is a whole nother topic. Maybe I'll make another video for you guys, right? But when your sexual energy is off as a man, your leadership feels forced. You start to second guess yourself leading your wife. Is your wife depriving you of sex, or are you deprived? Second guess yourself leading your children or leading women. Too much in your head. This goes for all, listen, this goes for all men. Whether you're in a relationship, you're not, whatever, okay? And so a man with balanced sexual energy leads effortlessly, right? When I talk to you guys about the executive presence and the quiet confidence, his presence commands attention without words. You don't have to force it. You don't have to pull up revving your Lamborghini, right? But when you're depleted or unaligned or misaligned, your leadership feels performative, okay? Like you're trying to convince others you're in control when you're not even in control of yourself. So I'm a coach and mentor to dozens of men. And I would say 95% of my clients are leaders. They're entrepreneurs, right? I never feel the need to prove that I'm a leader, right? My job is to help people unlock parts of themselves so that they can evolve, right? And they can start serving their clients or their families or whatever. But when you're sexually out of whack, you feel the need to like force your dominance, right? You feel the need to force things. And the only reason you would need to force things is if you are not things. Look, I know I'm preaching today. I know, man, somebody's hearing me. I remember I used to like try to force things, man. And it's funny, I had a client today, Michael, you're probably definitely watching this. Michael is about to hit his biggest revenue month ever in his business. And I said, brother, the success is guaranteed through these identity shifting systems. Now it's about maintaining that frequency. And he said, Dud, like, what the fuck? I'm not even trying anymore. Like, everything is so aligned. The intimacy sector of my life with women, business, deals are just coming through. And I'm like, brother, welcome to the next version of you. Now let's maintain this frequency. Sex will get better. How you express yourself will get better. How you lead will get better. How you show up as a man will get better. Maintain this frequency. That's what I want for every single one of you guys watching this. Once you figure this out right here, what we're talking about today, maintain that frequency. And so if your leadership feels forced, if you feel like you're an imposter and you have imposter syndrome, right? If you feel like you're not respected, like you want to be respected, right? Like you have to convince people. If you have to convince a woman to stay with you, if you have to convince anything to stay in your life, sexually, you're out of rhythm. And this is a deeply rooted issue for a lot of men, right? You guys can try to deny this, but I talk to you guys every day. I'm in this industry. I know what I'm talking about, okay? So let's move into number 6, fellas. Number 6, you become socially invisible. And what I mean by this is women stop feeling your presence. Men stop respecting your energy. In fact, you're no longer grounded or magnetic, right? Because sexual imbalance dulls your charisma and weakens your energetic signature. Let's talk about the energetic signature for a while we're here, shall we? Your energetic signature is, if you guys recall, for those of you that have been consuming my material for a while, I hope you've been actually being a man of practicality and not just watching and fucking masturbating to my videos. I hope you've actually been putting this into play. But I spoke about some men, right? There's men that they'll be in the room and they'll have attention for whatever reason. Maybe they have a lot of things on, maybe they have on some cologne, or they're physically imposing, or they're famous, whatever. But then there's some men, a very select few, that walk in the room and without saying anything, they become the room. They become the room. You can just sense it's some type of frequency that they're emitting. And this right here is the self-actualized man. The man that is committed to working on himself, improving himself, that has improved himself, that will continue to improve himself. It's a quiet confidence. It can come off as a slight grin. This man is at peace with himself. This man has gone to war with himself, so therefore he's at peace with himself. Sexually, he's free. He's grounded. He's rooted. Doesn't need to react, right? Doesn't need to have every woman in the world. He's selective. He values his energy. He values his space. He values his peace. He values himself. And this energy is extremely magnetic. And this man makes a fantastic lover for any woman that's in his life, right? And so once you're able to really unlock these parts of yourself, socially, it's almost impossible to be invisible because people can just feel you. People are just gravitating towards you. I have to know this guy, right? I catch myself sometimes, actually today I was in the immigration office, right? I was getting some documents together for my visa. And this lady was walking by and she was talking to some of the security guards, right? I'm in South America right now. And I'm just sitting in the corner by myself. She starts talking like, oh my goodness, he's so handsome, da 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 da. And then she says, oh, no se entiende. He doesn't understand, so I can talk. And I'm like, thank you, you're very kind. I understand everything you're saying, right? And she turned red. Whether it's this example or whether I'm just walking through the airport and people just like stare at me, ask me questions. If you're a man right now who is high vibing or you're sexually grounded, you probably notice that people are just drawn towards you. People want to seek your help. People just want to get to know who you are, right? You've probably experienced this too. And so once you get these energy system aligned, you don't have to work so hard, fellas. Things just literally start to come to you. And thankfully, that's what's happening for a lot of my clients right now. Last but not least, fellas, that was the energetic signature, right? The seventh sign that your energy is off as a man, your sexual energy rather is off as a man, is you've lost creative potency. For all of my creators and entrepreneurs here, right, or artists, have you ever reached an artistic block where you just feel like, damn, like I'm like stuck? That's been me. This is why I like to live in different societies. One reason why, because I get inspired by different environments, right? I like to learn. I like to express myself through different facets. I like to express myself through the different languages I speak, through my work, through art, right? And part of the ways that I like to express myself is sexually with the woman that I have in my life, right? So if you find yourself lacking creative potency, it's more than likely because sexually you're out of whack. So sexual energy is the root of all creative energy and expression. When you're imbalanced, or I should say, when you're balanced, ideas flow, your speech sharpens, right? And you naturally inspire. Like I said, people just want to be around you. People are just looking at you, right? People just watch you. Every move. People they just can't help it, right? You naturally inspire. When you're imbalanced, your essence feels flat, right? It feels as if you're disconnected from your own life force. And every man watching this video has that prana, that life force, that oomph, right? This can also show up in you not having erections when you wake up in the morning, right? Some of you guys need so many stimulants. You need coffee 3 times a day, right? You need drugs, right? You need to be on your phone all day long, scrolling, dopamining yourself up. You constantly need stimulation outside of yourself. But the man who is sexually rooted can use his own prana, his own energy, stimulate himself and maintain that energy throughout the day to be productive, right? So fellas, this is big. This is serious. Like I said, if you guys want superficial shit, you're in the wrong place. You can turn off this fucking channel and go somewhere else. But if you want to step into deeper self-mastery, master your sexuality as a man, reinvent yourself, shift your identity, and become a quite literal modern day Renaissance man. Welcome home. The relationships that you make in this brotherhood go far beyond virtual Zoom calls. They're for life. The gentlemen in our inner circle span across all continents. We're here to challenge you, call you out on your bullshit, but also support you and celebrate with you. Nothing is off limits here. We talk about things that most men will never voice out loud, and that's where real transformation happens. This is Modern Day Renaissance Men. Not just a program, not just virtual Zoom calls, but a private brotherhood for men who already have wins underneath their belt, but want to step into deeper self-mastery. It's a place where accomplished men go who want to grow in every dimension and facet of life while being surrounded by men who are going to hold you to a higher standard. Not every man gets an invitation, but those who do transform forever. If you're truly ready to sharpen every edge, become a complete version of yourself, and step into a brotherhood that'll challenge you at the highest level, and to ultimately leave a legacy that most men only talk about, this is your personal invitation. Book a call below, apply, and let's see if you're a good fit.
I commit to mastering every facet of myself, living with the full spectrum of emotions, and serving from my authenticity. I am noble, I am all that I am. I am a warrior. I am everything that I say that I am. I am free.
Peace to the Renaissance, man.